Hello, I'm Cheryl Meyer, and I'm otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse. And what my goal is to inspire you to lead a healthier life. So when I proposed my podcast, I proposed that we present it in two different segments. The first one is It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health, where I get to share everything I have learned to return my health back to relative wellness and to live a pain-free life in spite of the fact that I have autoimmune disease. But the second part of my podcast is this episode, and that's Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in. My concept with this is it's all fine and well that you hear me tell my story, but I get a lot of, it's all fine and well that it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. And I wanted you to hear that there are lots of people out there that have made changes in their lifestyle that have supported their health and brought them back to relative wellness. We all have a couple things in common. We all owned our own health. Whatever the doctor was suggesting we did was going on a parallel path to us making these lifestyle changes where we did things that cleaned up our toxic load. We all pay attention to our body. You'll hear jazz in the background because I want you to listen to the rhythm of your health, and I want you to pay attention to what your body is telling you. My body had been trying to tell me that I was going to topple over into toxic load for some time. I just wasn't listening. So if you clean up your lifestyle and if you listen to your body, you have a very good chance not of being deprived in any way, but returning to feeling darn good. And that's what these podcasts are really all about. So thank you for joining me. This is going to be a Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in episode, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that we all inspire you to lead a healthier, happier life. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to The Health Muse is in, Tell Me Your Story. And I have a very special guest today who is a friend, but who has an amazing story that I want her to share with you, which is why I have invited her here today. And her name is Dr. Marlena Sherman Linton. And I'm going to let her tell you her story because I couldn't begin to do it justice, but it's really a great story that you all need to hear. So let me introduce you to Marlena. Thank you for coming and being here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, first off. And yes, this is my beautiful friend, but it's my sister on this journey, a journey of discovering our purpose and making sure that we help others along the way. And we just connected, and it's like we've known each other a lifetime. You know, it's just fabulous and wonderful. Unfortunately, I have a very common story. It's one where I found myself right around 35 to, that year's 35 to 39, questioning where, how did I get here? How did I get so far off track, but still be on track? So what I mean by that, I was living the American dream. Beautiful home and the perfect job and, the spouse and the children and traveling. We were doing all these amazing things, but yet I was feeling sort of alone, not fulfilled, sort of, that just couldn't figure it out why I was feeling that way. And so when I would talk to other people or other women, they was like, you're crazy. You have what many women would die for. And I was thinking inside, I felt kind of dead. And so, I've always been on the search for the weight loss, so I was thinking, well, I did the opposite. When I got unhappy, I ate. When I was unhappy, I shopped. So before long, my waistline ballooned and my bank account was going down and I still couldn't figure it out. And so I thought, wow, as my nest started emptying, I was like, what do I do? Oh, I'm an HR director. I fix things. I'll fix my life. And for me, that was having another child. So every waking moment became having this child. but, you know, that but. Years before that, I had a tubal with my last son. So when I went to the reproductive specialist, he was like, sure, we can reconnect things. He said, but, here's the but again, you need to lose 100 pounds, 75 to 100 pounds, because you're a health risk as you go into 40 with, you know, having another baby. But I was like, hey, no problem. I'll fix this. Me being me. Now hear this. All is me. I'll fix this. And I said, I'll have a gastric bypass. And I even had a timeline. I'll have a gastric bypass. Within this amount of time, I'll be able to get pregnant. I'll do the, you know, the reconnection. And within 2 years, I was going to have this baby. So by 41, I had it all figured out. So when I went in to have the gastric bypass, everything went well the first surgery. It was 3 days later. And keep that 3 in mind, because that's about completion. The number 3 is completion. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking I'm going home on the 3rd day, and the nurse comes in and we're happy. She's happy. I'm happy because I'm going home. And she says, I'll be right back. And I, okay. And she comes back with the surgeon. And he says, we suspect leakage. We're going to have to take you back into surgery. And I was like, when? And he said, now. He was like, now, we're going to prep you now. And I literally woke up 80 days later into consciousness. So actually on the operating table, I coded twice. They resuscitated me, and I came back into unconsciousness for 80 days. So that's 11 weeks and 3 days. There's that 3 again for the completion. And when I woke up, I'm thinking it's the next day. And it was no, you know, and there were the machines, beep, and the buzz and thumping and you know, tubes everywhere, strapped to the bed. So we're worried right now about going out and staying, at least we're in our homes. Many are still strapped to the bed. But when I was laying there, you know, in the hospital strapped to the bed, I was like, really, God, why did you keep me here when so many others perished for something far less? And I had, what it was, I had sepsis and my organs started to fail.
And most people don't recover from sepsis.
Don't. I've been told by some nurses that they've seen patients within 15 minutes of knowing that's what it pretty much is coming in, they're gone. And so there was 3 days I had the leakage. I had 5 surgeries. And from one of the surgeries, they basically told my husband and my parents, they said, if she doesn't have it, she won't make it. And they said, well, if she has it, what will happen? They're like, well, you know, normally it's a 50-50 or, you know, a 70-30. It was, she just won't make it. and that was the turning point surgery. That was the one where I coded. And when the doctor, they said the 2 doctors came out to tell my parents and my husband and my friends that were there, you know, they said, well, she made it through the surgery. Well, what's next? They said, well, if she makes it 48 hours, we'll see. I mean, they had no hope. Even my surgeon later, he told me, he said, I had no hope. He said, all the cases, everything I'd seen, I really didn't think you'd make it. And he was like, I don't know what God you serve, but I did all that I could. This is the surgeon talking, your surgeon telling me I did all that I could, and I didn't think you'd make it. And so it really started me on a journey laying there, thinking I was going to get up and walk out and this life was just going to change. First of all, when I tried to get up, the reason they strapped me to the bed is because I didn't realize I couldn't walk. And so I had to learn the process.
You've been gone for all that time. Yeah. You hadn't used those muscles.
Yeah. So the day they got me up, they got me off of this, to the first day they're going to teach me to walk again. I'm thinking in my mind, you guys are crazy. I've been walking since I was a kid. So they strap you on this thing like a cot. They put this big belt around you and they, you know, sit you up, stand you upright. And my feet hit the floor. And just as it had, I crumbled. And had the belt not been there, I would have hit the floor. And it was just, to me, it was a symbol. It was a metaphor that God had me and he was holding me, but it wasn't enough to just stay there. I had to go about finding out what my purpose was about in life. So it took me on this beautiful journey of academics. I went back to school. I got my MBA. I got my theology degree because I want to understand this God that, saved me, and this what Christ saved me. I want to understand all that and how all of that fit into my soul. So the mind, the body, and the soul connection could be there. And here I am delivered almost 16 years later, back into this place of having to be stationary and be quiet, but I'm working to help others build their faith so they don't have to fear what tomorrow brings, and shifting the mindset. So I'm certified in NLP. I got certified in timeline therapy because we don't have time to waste getting that past stuff, because that's what I found out pretty much on the journey. It's that past stuff that had me enslaved mentally to where I was, having to control life and having to control everything and really not having the control. And that's the part that I love the most, that I don't have to be in control because I have a source that is in control. And I just say, source, this is yours. I don't have to fear and I don't have to worry. I have faith that you have this grand master plan, but I have the comfort and the confidence that I get to co-create with you how that looks. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just co-creating. So I wrote my book, Rediscovering Your Destiny, because we all started off wanting to be something or we were playing school with the teacher, or we were playing fireman or a doctor. We had this desire to be something, and along the way life just came at us so fast and so quick, and time just, I don't know where 20, 30 years went by, and I'm standing there going, I don't recognize the person in the mirror out there. There's so many different masks. And I'm just teaching women, and I hear you men, book 2 is coming, but teaching women to take off the mask, because we're the ones that for some reason we just grasp the fact that we have to be perfect.
And we learn to smile, whether we want to smile or not. It's the mask that covers up everything that's going on inside. Women, I find, do that a lot more than men.
Absolutely. And we say, my 2 masks of choice were okay and all right. They say, how are you? Fine. All right. Okay. All right. And I was not.
Yeah. I used to tease friends, if you ask me how I am and I tell you I'm fine, I'm probably not.
Right.
But if I start to tell you what's wrong with my life, I'm probably fine.
Right.
So you sort of have to decode me.
Yeah. And masks themselves are not bad. So I would say send your representative out. So when we meet new employees or candidates, I should say, or the newly hired, the CEO of the company didn't go out. I would go out, or someone from my staff would go out and interview or meet these or orientate or whatever, the new, the employee or the new or the candidate. So you send your representative. So yes, there is a mask we put on, because when we first meet people, we don't want to just, throw up everything all over them of who we are. But it's when you keep a mask on too long is where the problem is, and you don't know where the separation is.
Well, I think we all have different personalities depending upon the situation we're in.
Absolutely.
And that's perfectly okay. It's the masks that don't let anyone in.
Right.
That become the scary masks.
Yes.
We got to get rid of those.
You don't know where you in, and the mask just begins. So that's
right.
where, absolutely. So
and I love that you found your purpose. Purpose is purpose and community.
Yes.
Are the 2 most important things for health.
Absolutely.
So to find your purpose makes all the difference to how much fulfillment and happiness you get in life.
Absolutely. And that's how I get to live so passionately about life at this point. I told a friend, I said, not even death could check me. So because I know where my eternal life is, so I'm good with that. So I get to just be on this journey of helping others have that sense of community, get rid of their secondary gain. I help women build their whatever that next is for them. So if they want to stay in their careers and go to the next level, we look at what that, you know, picture is. Or if they want to start a business, I help them. I do network marketing. So I help them start that business, stay where they are financially right now, but start working on building their business to at the point where they can just, like right now, walk away and not feel the pain. And so it's very rewarding to do that.
Isn't that lovely? So you're now working for you. You're not doing HR for your company anymore.
I'm not doing HR anymore, but I still do HR because it's all human resources, but I'm not doing it for an external corporate company any longer. I'm just doing a lot of consulting for corporations. I still do some advising, but right now it's all about purpose and passion. So my company is Dr. Marlena's Purpose and Passion, and strictly helping people go from there. I like to say heart transplants, because we can't change the hearts and the minds of the company, but we can do it on the individual. So heart transplants to move you from your adversity into your prosperity. And the beauty about prosperity is we get to choose what that looks like for us. It's not always money or material. I mean, my children being healthy right now, especially like in the season we're in, my children healthy and happy, that's my prosperity. Me, I'm healthy and happy, and I love to serve. So I have a presence, I call it presence ministry. Well, I actually go out and I help or talk to people. Well, since I can't go out, I love Zoom because I can sit here like we're chatting right now.
I know, I'm really enjoying all my Zoom conversations. Who knew?
Absolutely. And so we've been doing that. We were doing, and I'm very active in my church. We're bringing on a good Sunday, maybe we'd have 50 to 75, 100 people, but now we're touching 300, 1,000 on Easter. By putting our services online, and it's just beautiful. So we can go out and still touch. I really wish they would change the name of this whole distancing from social distancing to physical distancing, but we're still able to socialize.
Right.
Even better now than we probably were communicating in the past, because we were kind of face down texting in the past, but now we're actually talking to each other and seeing each other and coming to each other's homes.
As frightening as this period of time is, and for the souls that are being lost, there are gifts in this period. Mother Earth is coming back.
Yes.
We are kinder and gentler to each other than I have seen maybe in the course of my lifetime.
Yes.
I'm hoping all of that continues.
Mm-hmm.
People are letting their masks down and being themselves. And we are interacting and communicating better. And if we can hold on to all of that when we come out the other end of this, it will have been a wonderful thing. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not frightened for all the people who are on the front lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the people who are ill.
I agree.
I have a private Facebook group. I have people in there who have the COVID-19, and I have ER nurses in there. Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to them because they're our heroes right now. But even our heroes have changed.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, my family's been touched. I have family and friends that have COVID, and but they're still here, and we're not counting them out. And what I like is we're banding together to uplift them and pray for them and come again. It's just that community now, rallying around. If we hear about someone's husband, we're praying there, and if we hear about someone's wife, we're on that. So I hear you. I love this. I don't love this illness part of it, but I do love the fact that the community's there, and we're getting in touch with our souls and our spirits again too. We're in that supernatural season that, you know, people, when I used to say that, you know, I don't define by a religion. I'm non-denominational. I believe there's room for everybody, whatever that is.
I agree with you on that.
You know, but for me, it was like just knowing I have faith because I have eternal life. But what do I do with my life here while I'm here? And I get to choose, and I'm choosing to be there. I was reading articles of people serving food. We've served more food to shut in people now than we have in pretty much in my lifetime. And it's beautiful because no one should really be hungry. My son is a wounded warrior, and I see what the struggles he's gone through to get resources and do, and they shouldn't, our vets should never have to struggle. The word homeless should never be part of that sentence for anybody, but especially people that have gone out and laid it on the line for us. So it's just, but the change comes from us. We each get to make a decision how we show up for someone else. A good friend of mine who's, unfortunately no longer here, he always said, that he rose, and I'm going to say it the way he says, he said, I rise by helping others rise. And it just has always stuck with me. And he lived that until the end. His goal was always to help others be better. And in doing so, he was better. It was never about money or things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this whole series is I wanted to talk to people who owned their own life.
Yes.
No matter what adversity they came up against,
Yes.
they weren't going to just have a pity party. And you don't have to get into a pity party. There are always things that you can do to turn your life around,
Absolutely.
Whether it's your health or it's your need for purpose, or whatever it is, you have control of your life. So I wanted to talk to people who did it, because I use Muse in my title. I am Cheryl M. Health Muse, because I want to inspire you that what all the people I'm talking to have done is changed their life because they chose to.
Absolutely.
Last year, my word of the year was choose. So I want everybody to choose, what is it that you want your life to look like? And then I want you to create it, because you do have that power.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things we say in NLP is cause is greater than effect. I'm at cause for everything. Now, some of the things that have happened, I didn't actually do them, but I'm at cause because I can, how I respond to them.
Right.
I get to
no, you didn't choose to get septic and be in a
Right.
coma for all those days.
Right. But,
I didn't choose to get autoimmune. Well, I know.
But did
on some level, maybe.
Yeah. So, but how that old, and 10% life is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% of the behavior.
What you do about it.
What you do about it. And I believe that across the board. So I'm not immune to having the pity party. So one of the nights I was laying there in the hospital and had the trach in, and so they had the little breathing apparatus here, and I was moaning and groaning and being witchy. And the nurse came in and she said, "You need to stop that. You don't need to have a pity party." Because there were 3 of us that had surgery that week. And from the 3, one of the women had 9 medications. She was about 500 pounds at the time. The other, she was in her 50s. The other woman was 38. She was about 300 some pounds. On a day of surgery, I was 277. So I've lost 122 pounds, and I've kept them pounds off.
Congratulations. I do want to ask you when we finish your thought, how did you do that?
Yes. So I had, had the surgery, but because of all my complications, they had to reverse my surgery. So that's what I was laying there having this pity party about. Like, I've gone through all of this, and I don't have to bypass anymore, and woe me. And the nurse came in and she said, "You need to stop having this pity party, because the mother of the 38-year-old mother, she died." And I sat in that for a minute. She said, "But you're here, and whatever it is, you have an opportunity to change it. And if you don't like the fact that they reversed it, close your mouth and get to exercise." I mean, she was just, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's so hard on me.
God love her.
But that was the truth. That was the push that I needed. And from that day forward, I realized, wow, you know, I may be down, but I don't have to stay down here, and I can look up, I can get up, and it's not just a cliche. I got up, and I've been moving forward ever since. And so when someone comes and they're having that pity party, moms used to say, you can push people. It's good to push, push, push. But when you start pulling is when you hurt yourself and you hurt them. So I'm good at pushing you. And I push myself. And it is a choice. Everything, you know, good marriage, bad marriage, you stay, you go. You just choose whatever it is and be unapologetic about it and move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you lose all the weight? You didn't have the bypass anymore.
No, I didn't. I did what the nurse said. I closed my mouth. So I meant, and I don't diet. I'll be truthful about that. But 80.
Well, I actually don't believe in dieting,
I don't diet, but 85.
That yo-yos you.
Yeah. And I had flat lines. So 85 to 90% of the time I eat clean and healthy thing, and I make good choices. And that 15-20, I eat whatever I want, whenever I want it. But I do exercise every single day, except for Sundays. I exercise. So it's 30 minutes to an hour of something. The other day, I was getting a little, you know, cabin fever. So I put on a mask. We had some special masks made. We're also entrepreneurs I have a barbershop. So we had some masks made. And I just went out and took a walk. But it wasn't just a walk. I saw the most beautiful colors now in spring coming forth. And so I keep moving. And so whatever that looks like, whether it's here on the treadmill or putting on a dance, on YouTube, all the dance videos and stuff, keep moving. And so if I have a bad day eating something, so I just have a bad day. But the best part of it is I love myself. I love every curve.
And that is worth its weight in gold, literally.
And I always say, you know, unfortunately, my husband loves the curves too, but I always tell him, I said, hey, when I'm not right for you, I'll be just right for somebody else. And I keep that mindset that, you know, as we say, the little slang, I'm a bag of chips and so much more.
So was it hard to convert to eating totally healthy?
Yes.
Or mostly healthy.
Yes, because, you know,
which I'll take.
Soul food was my thing, and it still is, but I cook it healthier. I mean, instead of putting some of the pork elements, for example, in my cabbage or my greens, I now cook them with either a vegetable base, or I'll cook them just in their own juices. And I like colors, so I add bell peppers of the different colors, bell peppers and onions and just different spices. So the running joke is I love school, of course. I have the doctoral degrees, but the next degree I'm going to get, I'm going to culinary school, because I want to know what spices work with what types of, and I do still eat meat. So I want to know what spices work with what meats and give this flavor.
There's a great book out called Salt, Fat. It's 4 different elements, and they explain why each of those elements is important when you cook. My husband read the book and was enamored because he learned so much about why the elements that make food taste good. Right. So you probably would enjoy reading that book. It's been on the bestseller list forever.
Yes. So and I don't really normally I don't like the taste of alcohol, but I love wine tasting. And I was watching the movies they had about the sommelier and how you can tell what region it's from, and I just thought that was so fabulous. And so that's one of the things that I like to do in my spare time. And I want to know which wines work best with what meals.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And where all the notes come from. Yeah. I can't taste them.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't drink anymore, so it doesn't matter. But when I could drink, and they talk about how you can taste the raspberry, and you know, I don't taste it. I either like it or I don't like it. So it's down to simple. But I'm happy that you eat all the colors, because that's one of the things that I talk to my clients about. You have to eat the rainbow.
Yes.
And each color has a gift for your body, and they work together. So you can't
Absolutely.
just eat all the greens, in
Right.
spite of the fact that greens
Mhm.
are good for you. But if you're not getting the reds, the yellows, the oranges,
Yes,
and the purples and the whites, you're not getting a complete set of nutrients that you
absolutely.
need for health.
True.
So the rainbow is important.
Yes, yeah,
So
absolutely.
fantastic. And I love that you just took a walk and you used all your senses.
Yes, absolutely.
I just was in a Thrival summit where
Okay.
we, each of us, there were 30 of us, that each gave a tip on things you can do
Mhm.
essentially for your spiritual or your physical well-being
Mhm.
that will help you get through this period of time with the virus, but that you will keep with you as you
Yeah.
come out the other end. And what I talked about, first I talked about eating the rainbow. I have to talk about that. That's my
Mhm.
thing. But then I talked about going outside and taking a walk by yourself without your electronics and using all of your senses. So
Mhm.
when you walk outside, how does the air feel on your
Right.
face?
Absolutely.
Pay attention to it. Those were all things that were flitting past me so quick, I wasn't paying attention.
Mhm.
And, you know, the flowers are coming out now and they are spectacular. Takes the time to bend over and smell them, for God's sakes.
Absolutely.
It's not just a phrase, it will enhance your experience. I talk about, and this one people look at me like I've landed when I first mention it, but find a tree and hug it
Yes. See,
and breathe with it.
I do a course on awareness. So one of the things we do every single, it's an 8-week process, not just the course on awareness, but it's an 8-week process. And every single week, um, every single day, you're challenged to be aware of something different. And you only get to be grateful in writing, for one thing. So you go out throughout your day and you're challenged to look around you, but in the evening, when you're writing in your gratitude, we do our gratitude journals at night. And when you're writing in your gratitude, you may have seen many, many things, but you only get to write about one. And the reason for that is because we don't want you to do the same thing. Well, thank you for the air. Thank you for the flowers. All of that we're thankful for. But I want you to really stretch your senses and see what's the, well, I had
I love it.
one young lady say, well, I'm 24-hour care in a home. I said, okay, look around the home and see something different. It's just about being aware of your surroundings.
Right.
And she said she didn't look into her employer's eyes until that exercise. And he had the prettiest brown eyes. She knew they were brown, but she didn't know they had gold speckles or, in them. And she said, oh my God, I became so, she said, I worked with him as a patient in and out all day. I never looked at him. And
Yeah,
so,
well, I think we don't look at each
no,
other.
we don't.
I don't see people, I feel their energy.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me details about people I truly love, I may not be able to answer it,
Yeah.
but I look at what's in them. I feel their energy, and
Right.
that's what I respond to. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be aware
Mhm. Yeah,
of
absolutely.
all of their outer beauty.
Well,
And
one day I was moving so fast. I went to get some gas, and I'm putting the money in under the window to the lady, and I'm moving and I'm looking at stuff and I'm checking, and I look up, and she was standing there like this, and I said, "Oh, hi," and she was like, "I was wondering when you were going to look up. What if she had been some type of danger around me?" And because we're moving so fast in life, we don't see it.
right,
And many of us, we're not in tune. A lot of people aren't in tune to that energy like you and I are, to feel it, because we all have that. You know,
right. And a lot of people don't do that part,
yeah,
which
because
is
we don't
equally important.
we feel it, but we label it something else. That's a whole another chapter, right? So, but we really should be aware of our surroundings, because it could be danger. I mean, she was standing there, it was a friend standing there waiting to say hi to me, because I was so busy doing my thing, I didn't see her. So we have to kind of broaden our peripheral vision and take a look at what's around us, as well as, yeah, that's another chapter and that I teach on, is about our our physical energy and frequency. And when it tells us everything we know. So in the book, It's one of the things I talk about, is that take those blinders off, take those masks off, and get back in tune, because we have everything that we ever need.
I want you to talk about your book. Share what people will learn when they buy your book.
Sure. This is my book. It is called Rediscovering Your Destiny. And what you will find in here is just my life's on a journey that invites you onto the journey, onto the walk. And we look at, like, I have a chapter called Misery Kills, and misery will kill us, and how to face it head on and make some real, again, this word, choices about how we show up in our lives. And then one of the things that we have to know, because we're so on this journey to be loved, but how do you love? So I talk about the love languages.
And it starts with loving you.
Yeah. Yes. You have to know how you love. So, I work with, again, single mothers, women who are in transition, divorced wives, people that are being forced to give up the titles. And now they have no idea who they are. So right now, many people are laid off. And, I used to be this corporate HR director, and now who am I? I used to be, mom, but I used to be the carpool mom, but all that's gone. Now, who am I? So you have to get back in touch with who you are, and then once you know who you are, you can go out and help you can go out and find that mate that compliments you, or that friend, that relationship. And I think one of the things we do too much is, and maybe because I'm married, so I put a little disclaimer there, we think about romance all the time, and that aspect. And loving ourselves and having that spiritual connection is the greatest romance you can ever find. And that, because I am enough,
Yes, you are. We
yes,
all are.
Yes,
but we don't know it. So
yes,
I want everybody to hear this. You are enough.
You are enough. Yeah. And so, yes. And then whatever in life is, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Just watch me. And then do whatever it is that I need to do. And we have to just get there. So that's couple of the things I talk about in the book. It's just helping women take back their voice, and then exercising it to move on in their journey. And then don't stay there, because it's about bringing someone else along on the journey with.
Right.
And again,
when you bring somebody else along is when you've really gotten what it was that you were seeking.
Absolutely.
But it has to start with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the next phase.
And that's it. Yeah, and just strategies for that, and knowing that. And I like to have fun, so have fun along the way. And fun doesn't equate to spending money. For me, fun is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you're not allergic to peanuts, right? Go sit on the bench in the park and eat your peanut butter and just have some quiet time. Or just go and sit and turn off the phone, put it away, and just have some quiet time and just look up. Now, I like to lay out, and I get a blanket and lay on the ground and just look up into the sky. And if you can look up, you can just come up with things that make you feel good and make you feel happy. And it doesn't cost anything, but that stress, it kills that stress level.
Yeah. And it's living with all of our senses, which is something that is relatively new to me since I got sick. I am much more aware of what I hear, what I see. When I said hug a tree, feel its trunk.
Yeah.
Feel the texture, because they're all different and they're all amazing.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And so it's being aware with all of your senses as you go through life.
Yes.
And that's a whole different experience than just zip, 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 which is what I was doing.
And I take a walk, so I'll take a walk, and sometimes I find myself walking far and I'll ride public transportation back. And you get to see the real life when you do that. because we're in our little, single little mobiles here, whether we have passengers or not. And it's like a film. We're just passing through life, scene after scene, clip after clip. When you actually get out there, many times since we have the subway here and driving downtown is, traffic's so bad. I'll drive to North Hollywood, hop on the red line, take the subway down to the theater or something, and you get to just see life close up. And it gives you a real good appreciation for where you are.
Right.
In life. And that's one of the things I encourage people to just get out and see our fellow man, and it doesn't hurt to say hello, and you don't have to dump your whole personal life on someone, but say hello. Someone may not have a smile right now. We have masks on, but I try and smile with my eyes even with my mask on. So say hello, just through a smile, to connect with someone. People need it because you never know what they're dealing with on the other side.
Now, you mentioned that you're writing your second book.
Yes.
And that it's geared towards men?
Yes, because I have had a lot of men read this book. Again, this one was sort of my journey, and it was geared at speaking at women not to get stuck too long behind the mask. And I had men call me and say, look, Dr. Marlena, I've lost my identity. I sometimes I don't know which mask I have on or even how to begin to take it off. And I thought, well, okay. So I have one of my coaches that is really helping me, and he's great for research. So I was asking questions, and I told him, I said, I really want to write this book, Rediscovering Your Destiny, the male version, whatever that name comes out to be. They don't like the male version yet, but
right.
geared for men to say, it's okay to let my guard down and let someone see the real me. Because, many times men, they have to keep that facade of being strong and, but there's still that little boy inside that's broken, and they don't, and, in my community, the truth of it is we don't go for mental health. I mean, we very rarely, people of color will go for mental health because somewhere along the line we were told it's not a good thing, and it shows our weakness, or we don't tell people our business. But the fact that we don't utilize that, we don't get mental health care, we're broken. They say black don't crack, and we look very youthful, but we're aged inside of our souls and our actual organs. So we got to stop that and get away from that. So men operate pretty much all men kind of operate on that premise that, oh, I can't go and have anyone help me because I'll be weak. I want to change that for them. I want to have that male perspective. That's why I'm asking different questions of the men I know, so we can change that, so they can get that mental health and
right.
show up in this life whole, and show up in relationships whole. So yeah, it's in the mix. It's coming along.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Now, if you had one thing that you wanted to share with people of your wisdom that would improve their lives, what would it be?
It would be faith. I believe faith is the foundation of everything. Faith is giving, we those of us that kind of came up in the church, we look at it like this, we have that, substance of things not seen. My definition of faith is just giving up the need to be in control. Give it to a higher power, so you know that the plan is greater for you, and then co-create, because if you have source, you're part of the master, so you get to be a masterpiece, and you just co-create what life for you looks like. And here's the thing: there's no one right or wrong, because it's going to be different for each one of us. And
but faith, one of the chapters in my book, mm-hmm. and it's in both books, it's another one of those chapters I thought it was important enough to mm-hmm. have both places, are the blue zones. Mm-hmm. The blue zones are where people live the longest, and they have 9 things in common. Mm-hmm. And right at the top of the list is that the people who are living a long time without dementia all are faith-based. Yeah. It is such a critical component of longevity and health.
Absolutely.
So it's purpose and it's faith.
Yeah.
It's also food and community and other things, but right at the top of the list is community and faith. And I think if you ask people what is health, that would not go to the top of their mind, but they're critical components.
See, that's mindset though. That's mindset. Faith is mindset. I choose to believe that there is a higher existence controlling all of this, so I don't have to worry about the details, and I get to live life intentionally and explore. And that's just when that pressure's off of you to, you know, try and figure everything out, you just relax. I mean, people have that, we call it the A word, anxiety, because you're stressed about something that hasn't happened yet, that's in the future. And if you just get rid of that and know that whatever's going to play out, reason, season, or lifetime, and lifetime comes quicker than you imagine some days. So, and I just let it go and say free from that. If I have a thought that's, I can't worry and pray is sort of what we say. I can't worry about it. So what's the point of praying about it if I'm going to worry about it? So I'm going to pray about it. Here you have it. And I'm going to go on and as if it's already done. And if it doesn't get done, it's not time. 3 things happen. And I think this is, for me, the faith part. So God will say, yes to something I'll ask for. And we are glad because yes is, yay, we want yes. And then he'll say no. And we're kind of okay with no because we kind of get that closure we all desperately need. But when he says wait, I think that's where we have the challenge. That's where the faith really comes into play. And many times someone said to me the other day, she said, Dr. Marlena, you know, your book is fabulous, but you know, it may not even be in your lifetime that this message goes forward and that it's, you know, it's for the generations to come. And I had to think about that because if you look at some of the great books that we're reading now, you know, Napoleon Hill's and, you know, those, you know, they were written a long time ago, but they're timely for us right now. So I thought about that.
And they're timeless.
Yeah, they are timeless. Absolutely. And so that's what I was thinking. Wow, it's that weight part of life that we don't do really well, that we have to get better at. So that's where the faith comes in, to know that all of this is just going to work out. And I had a good friend, and she used to always say, rest her soul, she used to say, but I want to know why. For me, I don't need to know the whys.
As I've grown older, I have learned that the why doesn't matter.
You know, I have the why. Mark Twain says that, you know, the most two important days, the day you were born, the day you find out why. Those are the only 2 whys that I need. Why everything else happened, it's not my business. It's not my details. I go on, you know, with my why of walking in my purpose. And so that's what it would be about faith, and just living life in that abundance that it provides you, when your mindset is in alignment with mind and body.
Now, tell everybody how they can find you. I will put it up at the end of this, but I want you to tell them so they can hear it.
Sure.
How do they find you?
It's on Purpose, the letter N like Nancy, the word passion.com. So it's purposeandpassion.com. I have free strategy sessions there. I am a minister. I can marry you, baptize you, and funeralize you as well. So whatever services. But right now, I want to give my ministry of presence away. It's 15 minutes of just being in presence with someone. You just go onto my site under services offered and click on there, connect with me, and let me just be a voice or a connection you need right now in this season that we have going on. But that's where I am. You Google me. I'm on Facebook, Marlena Sherman Linton. I am on Instagram and Purpose and Passion. Destiny is me on Instagram and Twitter. So I'm all over social media.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I loved having you as a guest.
I appreciate you.
And you have an important message for everyone to hear.
Yes.
You have a really remarkable story. So thank you for sharing that.
true walking miracle. And thank you for having me, because this is what until I take my last breath, I'm going to use my voice to help someone take off their mask and put on their oxygen mask so they can help someone else.
Fabulous. So,
All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.